Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. What a decade it's been for video games. You've heard about the big ones, the hits, but what about the ones that went unnoticed? Sometimes a game is totally fine, but it gets more or less unknown rather than being a timeless classic. So here are our picks for the 5 most underappreciated action games. Number 5. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Ninja Theory's indie game Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice was released in 2017. Senua, a Celtic warrior, returns from a self-imposed exile in this story. Her village has been pillaged by Northmen, and Dillion, her beloved, has been sacrificed to the Norse god. She embarked on a journey to Norse hell in order to save his soul. This is a horror game that includes both puzzles and fighting. Fighting against monsters with only a sword gives a sense of terror and urgency. To strike an opponent, players must notice opportunities and strike at the right time. Boss fights are really tough and exciting, and each one adds something unique to Senua's story. The rot is one of the game's most interesting elements. Senua has a talent for spotting symbols in landscapes and makes creative use of sound. There is one place where she is completely blind and must rely on her hearing to evade monsters. The variations keep the game interesting for you despite its 6-hour-long duration. Senua experiences visions of symbols and her past in addition to hearing voices. The visions allow her to peer into the depths of her mind, assisting her in solving puzzles and uncovering secret passageways. She sees things differently than most people, therefore the visions and voices are seen as a gift rather than misfortune. The line between Senua's craziness and intelligence is drawn here, and players will be able to witness it for themselves. It has the potential to alter public perceptions about mental disease. Hellblade is the best game for portraying such delicate issues, and they did a fantastic job at it. Her inner voice is a mix of her background, traditions, and culture. This game is for you if you've ever wondered what it's like to be psychotic. Players will root for Senua's achievement due to the depth of each character and the suffering she's endured from childhood as a result of her father's violence. Truth is a wonderful company for her lonely journey, and, despite his brief existence, Dillion provides Senua with a happy and colorful life. The facial movement details are precise and among the best in game history. Senua's eyes are expressive, filling up with emotion and expressing fright during moments of terror. Generally, video games aren't recognized for tackling difficult subjects. Hellblade, on the other hand, performed an incredible job with such a small staff. It gives you a gripping and unsettling experience since it is visually impressive and unique. Number 4. Mad Max. Mad Max was an instant hit when it came out in 1979. The video game has its own interesting story. It follows Max after he is robbed of his stuff and left to perish in the desert by a gang of ruthless raiders. Max comes upon a weird auto mechanic as he walks through the lonely wasteland, and he promises to assist him to take revenge on the violent raiders who harmed him. The stubborn team begins work on a customized car known as the Magnum Opus, and sets out on their revenge mission. This is a game that stands on its own, and if you've never seen a Mad Max film, you may still enjoy it. Max is an excellent figure to lead the audience through the story. However, Max is only a small part of the puzzle. Mad Max as a franchise is founded on a cast of incredibly memorable supporting characters like Immortan Joe, Master Blaster, Emperor Furiosa, Lord Humongous, and etc. In a game about driving through the wastelands, players will want to build the ideal vehicle, especially when the game begins with the destruction of the movie's iconic automobile. The game's visuals help a lot, but the wastelands are so well designed that it's tough to become bored of them. Caves, insane bandit camps, fortresses, and other sites add variety to the game. More insane weapons and defenses are added to Max's automobile. This enables racing, vehicular combat, puzzles, and other activities. The controls are exactly right, they're not too slick, and they're not too rigid. While watching the movie isn't required, fans of the series will enjoy the game just as much. It's constructed similarly to every other sequel with no connection from the previous films except Max himself. The Mad Max game serves as a 5th interactive film, so anyone who has seen all 4 films and still has a Mad Max itch can fire up the game for some more madness. Now, let's get on to the 3rd. Number 3. Evil Within 2. The Evil Within 2 falls under the underrated category because of one big reason: the game suffers from its previous game. While The Evil Within sold well and earned positive reviews from critics, several gamers were uninspired or let down by the hype, especially since it was directed by Shinji Mikami, the Resident Evil creator. This is made worse by the fact that the sequel improves on every aspect of the previous game and more. The sequel included more enemies, a stronger story, a semi-open setting, and a slew of other improvements. This is one of the best action-adventure games of all time, and we hope it gets a follow-up soon. The game's gorgeous landscape, interesting storyline, and overall unsettling notions all contribute to its ability to keep you engaged. The story often works so well because it has been broken into digestible chunks of action and exploration for the player to take at their own pace. It takes place in and around the town of Union and has an open world concept. Unlike many recent open world games, The Evil Within 2's Union is just big enough to get lost in, but not so big that you'll get completely distracted by alternative goals. The Evil Within was notable for its morphing set pieces, which were made possible by Stem's twisted consciousness. Unfortunately, extensive hallways and large open-style battles against enemy hordes interrupted such set pieces. In short, they were used in a minimal way. The Evil Within 2 makes better use of the STEM concept, which each of the game's 17 chapters serving as a brilliant surprise for you. The Evil Within 2 remakes every element of the original, resulting in a surprisingly competent sequel that leaves us wanting more. Both gunplay and stealth have been fine-tuned and they work effectively in the limited open-world setting. The experience is rounded out by its surprisingly emotional narrative and several twists and turns. Number 2. Mirror's Edge. Mirror's Edge is set in a corrupt city with a totalitarian administration that acts as a democracy. In a dystopian society, there is almost no crime save for a few individuals who are attempting to reclaim the city by enlisting the help of runners or couriers, which is where your primary heroine, Faith Connors, comes in. Faith is a runner who is attempting to save her sister, Kate, from being falsely accused of the mayor's killing. The graphics and art in this game deserve praise because they make you feel as if you're in a completely different universe, which adds to the authoritarian feel of the city. The bright, clean, and uniform infrastructures give the impression that the government has something to hide in this metropolis, which adds to the immersion. The ability to slip beneath pipes, jump onto beams, and then disarm an opponent all at the same time create some interesting combos throughout the game. The game's strong qualities are undoubtedly the quick takedowns and sieges of enemy weapons, as well as narrowly escaping dangerous situations. It's a short game, but every minute of it is packed with intensity and challenge as you try to navigate your way across the city's skyscape, while being pursued by an ever-present enemy intent on bringing you down. Mirror's Edge was neglected when it was initially released, yet no other game has been able to reproduce its unique feel until today. Number 1. Plague Tale: Innocence. This game follows little Amicia and her younger brother Hugo on a heartbreaking journey through history's worst hours. Amicia and Hugo will learn to know and trust each other as they are pursued by soldiers and encircled by an uncontrollable swarm of rats. They will try to find meaning in this terrible, unforgiving world as they struggle to survive despite overwhelming odds. Amicia frequently avoids conflict by being stealthy. She carries a sling with which she can distract and kill foes. A Tale of the Plague, the narrative of Innocence is fantastic. Often tragic and completely engrossing, the voice acting is always excellent throughout, lending emotional weight to a story that is frequently dark and brutal. The Plague Tale is a linear, narrative-driven experience, and there isn't much incentive for players to return. However, each chapter contains collectibles, and upgrade materials can be located off the established path, ensuring replayability for achievement rewards. The game is stunning, terrifying, and unexpectedly moving. In a harsh, horrific world, characters are introduced, adored, and murdered off in the way of Game of Thrones. This is a single-player adventure that is well worth your time. Despite their values, many games are subjected to negative criticism. Sometimes a badly handled part of the game overshadows its true greatness, while other times, the game is released at the same time as a long-awaited mega production. We hope they get the recognition they deserve. We hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.